Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Melissa Tompkins, and hopefully you were able to watch my first talk on compassion fatigue in the veterinary field. I talked a lot about kind of symptoms of compassion fatigue and things that we can think about and look out for and things that might be happening to us. And I didn't really give you guys solutions. And I planned on coming back and talking to you guys pretty quickly after I made that first video, but unfortunately life got in the way and I did not. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about burnout, but I'm also going to give you some tools that you can use. And you can use a lot of these same tools for compassion fatigue. So as I mentioned in my first talk, compassion fatigue is the combination of secondary traumatic stress and burnout combined. And I think that's something that a lot of us in our fields have experienced is burnout. And I've been in this field for 18 years and I've worked at general practice. I've worked emergency only. I've worked for specialty with emergency. So I've kind of done all the things that you guys might be doing, minus being a technician or a doctor. I've pretty much worked all the roles within the practice. So I do understand what it is like to deal with a lot of the things that you guys are dealing with. But my experiences are different than yours. We all live in different places. I'm here in Southern California. You might be in Maine. I have no idea. But there can be a lot of things can be very similar. And then there's things that are a little different. So what I want to talk about is the overall burnout that we might be experiencing. And I really want to draw attention to this for all of the employees at hospitals, as well as the leadership at hospitals, because I've been a manager for 16 years, and I know that I have a different understanding of what I could be doing that could be leading my team to burnout. And I want to approach that for all the leaders as well. So I'm going to kind of talk about it in a couple different ways. But first of all, how do you know you're feeling burned out? You might think you are, but can you look at some symptoms or some things that might be causing you to feel burned out, or ways of knowing that you are? And I think what's really important, and I'm going to move my Zoom, hopefully you can see the slide. I'm only using it as a guide because I want to make sure that I talk about everything. But are you feeling really cynical? Are you feeling really critical at work? If you're a leader, are you feeling cynical of your team? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling critical? If you're not a leader and you're a regular employee, what are your feelings like this? In our field, we can tend to get cynical over time just because of what we're dealing with, but there may be a deeper meaning to it. Do you find that you have to drag yourself to go to work? Are you having trouble getting started? A lot of these things I'm going to talk about are similar to compassion fatigue, because again, compassion fatigue is a combination of burnout and secondary traumatic stress. So of course, the experiences that you have if you're feeling burned out can also be some of the experiences you have if you're suffering from compassion fatigue. So do you find yourself struggling? Do you find yourself not wanting to go to work? And I know as a manager, I know I've received many people calling out. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're not, but I want you to think about it. Have you called out of work because you were burned out as opposed to actually sick? And I'm not judging it. Trust me, there's no judgment here, but I want you to kind of recognize that feeling of what it is. And have you become irritable with your coworkers, with clients, even maybe with your family and friends? Burnout doesn't have to be just a work thing. Sometimes it can be something that affects you in your home life. We're going to focus a little bit more on the work part, but it can be something that affects you in other ways, not just going to work. And do you feel like you have not as much energy? Do you kind of drag yourself through the day? I know that's kind of difficult right now because of how busy we are, but do you feel like maybe you're just not moving as fast as you want to and you're kind of dragging? And do you find it hard to concentrate, hard to focus, hard to complete that task in the manner that you might want to? These are all signs of burnout. These are all things that can tell you that you're getting burned out at your work. And do you lack satisfaction from your achievements? Do you feel good about what you did? Because I've seen that, when you have like this crazy patient crazy situation, we'll say that, hit by a car, dog, and you're able to help that dog and treat him and make him feel better and send him home. On a normal day at a normal time, you would feel great about that. It's an accomplishment. It's so exciting. You took care of that dog and you made him better. But are you feeling that way now? Are you feeling like it's not as much of an accomplishment for you? You're not getting as much satisfaction from that. That's something to think about. How are you feeling with this? What do you feel like at the end of the day? Do you have a good day? Did you have a good day? Do you have good days in general? You really want to think about this. And do you feel disillusioned on your job? Are you feeling like, what's the point of me going in? Nobody listens to me. I just do the same thing over and over. That may or may not be true. I think there's a lot of times when we think it's true, but maybe it's not. I can tell you as a manager, I have felt disillusioned at times. I felt like people didn't care, that they didn't want to step up and they didn't want to do their jobs. That probably wasn't true. That was my thought, but it's because I was having my own personal issues, So it kind of works that way for all of us, right? Are you using food, drugs, or alcohol to make you feel better or not feel at all? I'm not, as I talked about in my compassion fatigue talk, I talked about, only you know if you're using those things in a way that might not be the best for you. Only you know if you are. I don't know. Only you do. But are you doing those things? Have your sleep habits changed? Are you sleeping less? Or are you sleeping more? Sometimes burnout can be totally like hand in hand parallel with depression, and depression can a lot of times lead people to really sleeping a lot because they have absolutely no energy. They're drained, they're exhausted physically and mentally. And are you having any physical effects, maybe headaches or stomach aches or bowel problems or anything else that you think might be a physical complaint to dealing with burnout? Think about these things. All of these things can be symptoms of burnout. If you have them individually, it might not be. But if you're having all of these experiences, are you suffering from burnout? Do you feel at the end of the day where you're just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore? I'm on a lot of Facebook groups and I see all these posts from different people talking about burnout, talking about how they feel so fatigued and so exhausted. And a lot of the groups I'm on are managers talking about these experiences. And I think that we need to think about this. If we're really feeling these things, what are we doing? Now, as a leader and as a business owner myself, I own South Coast Veterinary Management Solutions. Now, I don't have any employees, it's just me. But as a business owner, I understand the need to make money and the drive to take on as many cases, or not cases, but as many clients as I possibly can. But I have also had to learn that I can't do that. I can't take on every single person who calls me and asks me if I can do something for them, if I can do recruiting for them, especially right now when recruiting is just ridiculous. I get so many phone calls and I can't do it all. And I've had to learn that I can't do it all. So practice owners and managers that are watching, can you force your team to do it all? Are you taking on every single case that calls, every client that calls and wants to come in right now? Are you saying yes to all of those? Because if you are, you could literally be the reason that your team is burning out. They could be burning out because you keep saying yes. Is that fair? I don't think it is. And I can say that running multi-million-dollar businesses for the past 18 years, or 16 technically. I've been in the field for 18, but I've been managing for about 16 and a half. So I can say that knowing how much it costs to run a hospital, you don't have to say yes to everything. You need your team there tomorrow. You need them to be healthy. You need them to feel good, okay? So that's my comment to all the owners and leaders. You gotta be there for your team when you need it. And I guarantee you that right now, a lot of your team is struggling with burnout. A lot of your team just said yes to that list of things I just talked about. So what do we do about it? If you're not the manager or leader and you can't make a decision to not take on as many clients, let's talk about what you can do. You can evaluate your options. You can talk to your leaders about what you're experiencing. And honestly, I recommend that. And leaders, be open to listen to your team, listening to what their experiences are. Try talking to your leaders and expressing what your problems are, whether it's your supervisor or your manager. I know it's hard if it's a corporation running things, you might not have a person you can talk to, but talk to somebody who can help make a decision and help alleviate some of the pressure. Maybe that's altering your schedule. Maybe that's altering the schedule of the hospital. Maybe it's changing things. I know that most practices right now are booked for days, if not weeks, if not months. I know hospitals said they were booked until October. It's freaking August 4th. They're booked through October. That's insane, right? So what are they doing to help organize themselves? I don't know. But if you're suffering, or if you think you're suffering from burnout, you've got to talk to your leadership team about it. And if they're not open-minded to it, give them my phone number. Go to my website. My business number is on there. It's 562-484-4839. And I'm very sorry, the neighbor's dog is running by right now. So if you have them, call me and I can talk to them. Please don't leave me hate messages because that'll piss me off, but I will help you, okay? So seek support. And when I say seek support, a lot of us talk to our teammates, and we just kind of complain and we just go in this circle of negativity. When I say seek support, talk to people who can understand what you're going through, but are going to be able to help you through it. Sometimes commiserating is a good thing because it can be very helpful, but sometimes it's not so good because then we just get stuck in that negative over and over and over. So maybe talk to somebody who can help talk you out of that situation. I say find your tribe too. Find a group of people who understand what you're going through, can help you work through it, and can help you work through your feelings and give you thoughts and ideas of maybe there's something that you could do different. Because sometimes it is up to you to make the difference, right? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you can't change it. But talking to people who understand what you're going through can absolutely be helpful. And if it's someone who's not at your hospital, they're not experiencing the exact same negative things that you are. So think about that too. Sometimes it's good to have a different perspective. Try relaxing activity. I think I talked about that in my compassion fatigue talk, but try doing something that you enjoy, something that relaxes you. I personally will enjoy putting on music that I love, that I get either some kind of emotion, whether it's a really, some people love to listen to hard rock or rap or something that gets them pumped up and they can get out of that funk that they're feeling. Sometimes it's listening to sad music. Whatever will make you feel better, try listening to music to relax yourself. My boyfriend loves jazz and classical, which is funny, but he gets a lot out of doing that. So try music if it works for you. Try art if it works for you. If you're good at drawing, try it. I'm horrible. I can't even draw stick people. So that would not be fun for me. I did a wine and paint thing once a couple of years ago, and I was just really depressed about my painting because it looks awful. But maybe it works for you. Try that. Try journaling, get those thoughts and those feelings out of your body, out of your head, onto paper, and then burn the paper when you're done. And I talked a little bit about that in my compassion fatigue talk. Because again, compassion fatigue is just an extra, it's not just, it's an extra add-on to burnout because burnout's part of that. What you can really do to help yourself is get some exercise. Go for a walk, go for a run if you can, do yoga or Tai Chi. I can't do that Tai Chi or yoga because it's awkward for me, but I can do kickboxing, and I like it. I don't have a bag right now. I'm just doing aerobic kickboxing, but I love kickboxing. It's a lot of fun. Do something that gets your heart rate up, and 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and you could feel better. What if you took a break at work and you walked outside? I know you're laughing because I said take a break. So again, back up, leaders. If your team is not getting breaks, you have a problem. Your team needs breaks. You need them to encourage them to take breaks. And if you're not taking a break because you have it in your back of your head that you have to keep doing what you're doing and someone else can relieve you, let someone else relieve you. One of the problems that we struggle with in our field is something I call martyrdom, where we keep going and going and going because we feel like we have to and that we are the only ones can do it. We feel this guilty feeling or this drive to keep going. Martyrdom is not a good thing, guys. So if you know you can take a break because someone else is right there, then do it. Take a break, go for a walk, go outside, eat food. eat lunch, eat a good meal, because eating something healthy for you is absolutely essential. I know so many people like skip eating all day. I'm not capable of doing that. I have to eat. Don't skip eating. Eat a meal. And you'll find that if you start eating regularly, you might actually feel better. And instead of your binge eating that you might do when you get home at night. And then sometimes I know people who do that feel really horrible. They don't like it. It's not good for them. So you want to make sure that you're eating a balanced diet. I sound like one of those, like your elementary school teacher when they had that like pyramid on the wall that talked about all the food groups and stuff. But it's true. Try doing that. Try eating a healthy meal. What's really important is getting sleep. And getting sleep restores your well-being and helps protect your health. And that's a challenge, especially when you're feeling burned out, because we talked about sleep being a problem. If you're having a bout of insomnia, or if you're sleeping so much and you're so lethargic, you've got to figure out what the best balance is for you. And something that, if you find that you can't sleep, pay attention to what food or drinks you're consuming all day. Are you drinking a lot of caffeinated beverages? I've had people tell me that, oh, caffeine doesn't affect them. They're fine. It doesn't matter if they have like coffee at 10 o'clock at night, they can still sleep. Well, the thing is this, maybe you can sleep. Maybe you can't. I don't know. I don't have caffeine really late in the day because I don't want to be affected. But what if you didn't sleep as well because you drank so much caffeine? What if you have fitful sleep? What if you don't sleep as long? What if you could fall asleep, but then you wake up at 2 in the morning? Your mind's spinning. And I think that we've got to think about that. Are there things that we're doing earlier in the day that help it or prevent us from sleeping as well at night? Only you know that. So pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to what you're consuming. Pay attention to your patterns. Do you actually try to relax before bed? I know you're all laughing at me like, what are you talking about relaxing? I don't get home until after 14 hours of work. Well, if you're doing 14 hours, it's not a good thing unless you're in maybe a 3-day work week because you're working graveyards or something like that. That's not necessarily healthy though, but you got to think about what you're doing that might prevent your sleep. Okay. And then try being more mindful. And mindfulness is sort of the act of focusing on your breath, your thought. It's focusing on kind of calming your brain so that you're not going crazy with it. I have a tendency to have my brain going wild, and it's going like 5 million miles a minute. And it is really hard for me to calm it down. So I've actually joined a meditation group every morning at 6:30 in my time. It's a little bit later for the other people that are in the group because they're all from other states, but 6:30 my time, I get up and I join a meditation group. And what I found is I thought I didn't really like meditation at first, but what I found is it actually is starting to help me. It's starting to help me focus my thoughts and really take 10 minutes of relaxing breath and just sort of imagining different things that the that the meditation is recommending. And I'm actually getting a lot better at it. It took me a few weeks before I actually could really get into it, but I'm sleeping better at night. And I don't know that that's a direct correlation, but it's absolutely helping me. And another thing that I like to do is breath works. And if you watch my first video, you know that I was supposed to have Lori come on and talk to us about breathworks, but unfortunately, her dog actually had to be euthanized, and he got really ill, and he was older, and it's honestly very traumatic. And she didn't get to come on and talk to me yet because she's not ready, which all of you who have ever lost an animal completely understand. But she is going to come talk to me, and we're going to do a breathworks YouTube video so that you guys can see what that's like, because that's learning how to breathe to help relax yourself, help calm yourself down. And you can do it in 30 seconds. You can do it in 2 minutes. You can do it in 5 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. There's a lot of things with breath works that you can do to help yourself calm down. So I will have Lori on my channel at some point, hopefully when she's better, when she's in a better emotional place. I know I lost my cat in May, and every time I think about him, I start crying again. So I'm going to try not to say his name. If you can still see my picture, I don't know if I'm still up or not. My background, my screen for Zoom, he is in it. He's the all white kitty. So if you got to see him, that's who he is. His name is Bug. It is very traumatic to lose your animal. So, okay. So what else can you do to help yourself with burnout? Do something that's going to make you laugh, make you smile, whatever that is. I say that to everybody, even if it's only for 5 minutes, do something that you enjoy. And I would tell you to do it for more than 5 minutes, but if 5 minutes is all you have, then 5 minutes is what you got. It's better than nothing. I tell every practice owner or manager that I talk to, put some funny videos. If you can put them in treatment, great, but that might be a little distracting. I understand. Do something enjoyable for yourself. Make yourself laugh and do it regularly. And if you have to really think about when the last time you laughed really good was, you gotta watch a funny movie or something. I don't know, but making yourself laugh will help bring you out of a negative funk, even if it's for only a few minutes. Okay. Honestly, I can't tell you how important that could be. One of the most important things for us when I talked about martyrdom is setting boundaries. So that's up to us to set those boundaries. You know, people request stuff of us all the time. And as I mentioned earlier, people are asking me for help. And I say yes as much as I can, but I also have to learn when to say no. It's setting those boundaries. Don't take that extra shift if you can't. I understand everybody is understaffed right now, and we're all struggling with trying to get through the day. And when you have someone missing and someone says, hey, can you come in because we're shorthanded, then your automatic reflex is to want to help. And I commend that. I'm one of those people, you know, even as a management consultant, which is what I am now. I work with a couple hospitals as an employee, but mostly I'm as a consultant. One of my practices was down 2 people, and my head was like, okay, can I reorganize my schedule so I can go in and help them with whatever they needed? You know, that's not even my job anymore. I'm not even their employee, but that was my feeling. So I totally understand your desire to help. And I think when you can, you should, but don't do it at the cost of yourself. Don't do it if it's going to put you in a deeper burnout, because then you're going to work for 6 days that week instead of 4. You know, only you know when you're doing that. Only you know when you should say no, or when you can say no and not feel bad about it. You know, because you don't have to feel bad for saying no. Managers and leaders, remember, it's okay if your team members can't fill a shift. If they're burnt out, they're burnt out. You got to give them a break. That break is what's going to be needed to rejuve and recuperate and come back the next time refreshed. So if you don't take time for yourself, you won't have that, and you'll be in the circle of burnout forever. So if it's not required of you and you can say no, say no. You know, I get wanting to be helpful. And I know all the managers that are my friends that are watching this are like, oh my God, Melissa, you just totally screwed us. I didn't screw you. If everybody has a balance in their life, everybody will be on their A game when they come in. And that's what we ultimately want. So don't work as many shifts if you don't have to, if you can kind of avoid it. Now, one thing that burnout, you know, they don't talk about it exactly like this, but sometimes you might need to change. If you're experiencing a really toxic work environment, I've been in toxic environments before, and if you're in that environment and you can't escape it and you can't make a change and you can't make a difference, sometimes you might need to leave. The thing I want to remind you, though, is the grass is not always greener on the other side. And I know people who have left thinking they were going somewhere better, and it turned out to be worse. So one thing I want you to think about is if you're thinking about finding somewhere else because you're really unhappy at your own business, at your own hospital, only you know whether you made an effort to make a difference at your hospital, whether you made the effort to make a difference for yourself, whether you tried to do meditation, or whether you tried to eat a balanced meal, or whether you tried to get exercise. If you didn't do any of those things and you think all of your problem is work related, that's not necessarily accurate, because there's all these things you can do to help yourself. If you choose not to do those things and you just blame it on your work, then I guarantee you the next place you go to, you're going to have the same problems, because ultimately we're responsible for our own actions. And so we want to make sure that we are doing what we can to help ourselves get better. And then we know we did everything we could. And for those of you who are in a work environment that is conducive and will help you when you ask, you know, maybe come up with some ideas, some suggestions. One of my favorite things is when a team member came to me and said, hey, I know we're having this problem. I have an idea, you know, and that's, to me, is awesome when someone else has an idea to have how to fix something. So if you feel like you're experiencing so much burnout that you want to make a change, first see if there's something you can change at your current hospital. See if there's something you can do. Maybe they haven't tried, blocking out the scheduler. Maybe they haven't tried redoing their drop-offs, or maybe they haven't tried some of the things that you might have ideas about. Offer those suggestions. See if they'll take it. I know some of them will and some of them won't. But make sure that you've thought about all the things that you can do and try to do everything for yourself before abandoning ship. I know there's this whole thing of people are rage quitting right now. That's not going to solve the problem. That's just walking away from it, So make the effort. And if you know you've made the effort, it's a whole different story. There are a few different things I'm going to put in the comments about burnout. There's a burnout workshop, a workbook, Banishing Burnout. And I've completely forgot the name of the lady who wrote it, but I will put it in the comments so you guys can see that. But she has some great information. It's a toolkit that you can use to help banish burnout and give yourself a way of working around it. So I highly recommend that you do that. I highly recommend that you check out the compassionfatigue.org. I put some of the connections to my YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and follow it there. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so, because I am going to continually update things on compassion, fatigue, and burnout. I'm going to do some stuff on self-care and breath works. And then I'm going to be talking about a lot of other things in the veterinary field. So please follow me so that you can get more information from me when you can. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. I hope that you feel better, or at least know that there's some solutions for you. And if you don't feel better, you can call my business number, 562-484-4839, and talk to me. Please don't leave me harassing voicemails, because that's just plain rude. All right. Thanks so much. Again, follow me and subscribe to my channel, South Coast Veterinary Management Solutions. My name is Melissa Tompkins. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.